Good Wednesday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV, the internal combustion engine age YouTube channel that talks about all my cars and trucks and motorcycles, SUVs, popcorn, the kid, brother, no dogs, and no dogs down here, but hey, good Wednesday morning there, and hope everybody's doing well this morning, and thanks for tuning in to my channel. So hey, listen to me yabba dabba do, is which I do many days out of the week. And yeah, so what are you doing today? And once again, it's always a pleasure to get on my YouTube channel and talk to others, and hopefully my experiences can relate to your experiences. Not always, but it's just always about my my adventures and my antics. What's up next, right? It's always an adventure on Ice Age TV. And if this is just beyond believable that I've got an F450 2022 used platinum silver sitting in my driveway, it's beyond believable. Because if you just go to my YouTube channel 1 week ago Tuesday, you would see a video, I believe, of me buying a Camaro Z28. And a week ago Tuesday, if I would have told you I'm buying an F450 truck, I'd have been like, I don't know. Why is that playing out in my life? Because I was on a mission to get out of town to go to Florida, and I was never on a mission to go out and buy another vehicle, even to the point I was going to have Carvana deliver me a Camaro Saturday, this last weekend, which would have stalled me from getting to Florida. And I started thinking to myself, why don't I take it upon myself and look around and see if there's any local Camaro Z28s? And wow, if you know the story of the 2015 black Camaro Z28, that's just beyond believable. And once again, the conversation is about the F450 truck, because who would have imagined on Tuesday of last week, even for me, I'm not embellishing here, I never really was on the page to really get F450 truck in the near future. Have had my eye on the F450 to get one again, but I just, they're a lot of money, and I just was having a hard time coming to closure if that made any sense. Yeah, does it make any sense? Not so much. But what's interesting is how the Ford Power Boost created the F450 boost in so many ways, because if it wasn't for me driving the F-150 Power Boost down, and I would have driven something else, or had I not driven down a trailer with motorcycles, I don't think this would be here in my driveway. I don't think this deal would have even transpired. So for me, it's just incredible on how, I call it the car gods. It's just the never-ending adventures in my life of buying something, and how these things just kind of come to be when they really weren't even planned to be. And one of the reasons that this truck kind of came to be is because of the fuel storage and the fuel mileage. If you're really watching my channel and you saw my adventures down, getting 5.8 miles per gallon out of a Ford Power Boost, pulling a 8,000 pound trailer, which I was just stumped. Some people say, you go too fast. Well, this open highway is 70 mile an hour. You know as well as I do, if you're doing 70, 75 miles an hour pulling a trailer, that's a lot. It's a lot of energy. So do you become the slow poke and go in the right-hand lane and go 60 miles an hour to get better fuel economy? There's no doubt you can do that. But for me, it's like, no way. I'm going to rock and roll. And I've always have rock and rolled down the road. So the word of the day is storage. I thought to myself, what would be a great conversation today is storage, because that's a key critical component of these cars and vehicles that we live around in our daily routines. And this truck here, which is so cool, has a 48-gallon fuel tank, which, just simple math, this truck gets 10 miles a gallon, it's going to go close to 500 miles. This truck's going to get more than that without towing a trailer, and here come the troublemakers. Look at that. You know my kid's driving because of how fast the car's moving. I mean, look at that. Yeah, she must be hungry or something. The kid's already riled up. So let's go over here and visit the popcorn and the kid. And she didn't see me back here, I'll scare her. Watch this here. I'll just come up on her, behind her, and she'll be freaking out. So let's see here. Now they're gonna talk in the car. Watch here. Watch what happens. She's laughing. These two here, she's gonna spill her coffee. What are y'all doing now? Is that my coffee? Whoa, I got a coffee. All right, we're getting, yeah, I'm losing my momentum on this, right? The kid shows up, popcorn shows up, the antics begin. Hey, there's my nice coffee with paper all over, but I need my coffee. I got a cold coffee here that needs to be transferred. So let's do that real quick. Okay, so the kid's got her night evening gown on. Is that what you call it?
It's called a moo-moo.
A moo-moo? My grandma's favorite. Yeah, can popcorn get out? Are you gonna like help him out, or just watch him kind of like crawl out of the car? I mean, is this here? Are you gonna try to help him?
Don't let me hit your truck.
You know, hey kid, why don't you try to help out Dad here?
What do you mean? I am.
Okay, well, yes, see you are. As he hits the car. Oof, that's close, but it's good.
I parked perfect.
Yes, you did. You're rocking and rolling. You came in this morning. Yeah, right. You're rocking and rolling.
This is a fast car.
I can tell. I saw you driving it. Yeah, so anyways, back over to F450 truck. So, yeah, so I thought the conversation...
Yeah,
could...
you need to move that by 10 a.m.
What?
You need to move that by 10 a.m. The carpet people.
Oh, thanks for reminding me.
I called you, but you didn't answer.
It's at 10 a.m.
I'm just saying, though, I called you to remind
Yikes, Jesus Christ, it's just getting the morning going and the kid's chewing me out. Yeah, my neighbor here, one guy on my YouTube channel, reached out and said, gee, nice guy, you park your F450 in your neighbor's house so they get the violation. Oh, no, the whole association or this whole neighborhood knows who parks the truck. So I'm not lying. I've had my black dually down here. I've had other trucks down here parked in my neighbor's driveway. They're very nice. When I go to town, let me park it here. And do my parents get the violation or does he? My parents do. I mean, they know. So, yeah, no. And it wouldn't matter anyways. Even if my next door neighbor got the violation, we're good friends. He'd be like, yeah, just get it out of my driveway. So, it takes a little time for somebody to be walking down the neighborhood and snapshot a picture of this, and then they mail it to the association that this is such a hindrance to the eyes of the neighborhood. It's just so bad. But anyways, the storage. So, yeah, so in so many ways, the storage of that Ford F-150 truck making me pull over every 100 miles, which I just can't stand that. You just have no idea how many years I've driven down the 95, and I've brought my Ford Expedition, and I've brought my Ram trucks. I mean, I've brought a whole different fleet of vehicles over the years pulling trailers, and I'm going to tell you, that Power Boost is the worst yet of fuel mileage. Sure, I've seen the Bronco. If you watch my Bronco videos, I had Bronco videos. I'd be pulling my smaller trailer, and I was getting like 6 miles a gallon. And it's just so aggravating because you're pulling over every 100 miles. This truck here, I have very high, I have high hopes that I'm going to go at least 300, 350 miles where I have to pull over, which that's a lot more comforting. We don't know. We'll see. We're towing back, but I would think this thing's going to get a minimum of 8 to 10 miles a gallon. That would be my guess. So even at 8 miles per gallon times roughly 48 gallons, that's close to 400 miles. So that really works. But here's the point again. If it wasn't for the storage challenges, and that's where we are in life. We have storage challenges more than ever in society. And you could say, well, what do you mean by that? Well, look at your phone. Who doesn't have the constant battle if you're loading information into your phone or your computer at the office? I mean, who doesn't just always have the challenges of data having to be transferred? You have to download it to a stick or download it to a backup hard drive. I mean, look at the data centers where I live up there in the Virginia area, Dulles area. The data centers are huge. It's all about storage. Whoever envisioned 20, 30 years ago that you could get in the business of building buildings and lease them out to computer storage? Who would ever thought of that? Everybody's on the page of building out storage units for people that live in apartments, condos, smaller homes. They downsize and they need to rent a storage unit to keep their items because they don't have enough room in their home or their apartment. Or even me this past summer when I was getting stuff out of my mother-in-law's house because she didn't like all my cars down there, I had to rent some storage units down there to get my cars and motorcycles out of her space, just to keep the mother-in-law happy. And so, hey, happy Valentine's. Valentine's to everybody out there, for all the lovers, all the loving. Yeah, those the good old days where you fall in love with your girlfriend, and then you you propose to her to get married and all that good stuff. Hey, remember those things? How many did that on Valentine's Day, right? Wonder who did that, huh? Wonder who did that. So they really fun Valentine's Day. And so once again, happy Valentine's Day, and hope love is in the air. But the point of that is, who would ever dream that so many years ago that you'd see all these mega data centers being built out for just computer storage? Because it's massive for these major servers to now the transformation of our culture of living through the internet. And what's it all about? It's all about transferring data and storage. And so you can look at the storage on in the fuel side of these vehicles that we own. And what's interesting is you don't really see the fuel. Every one of us gets out of bed and goes to work, and for this vehicle you put diesel fuel in it, but per se you don't really see the fuel. Sure, you smell it, you can see it spill out a little bit, but you plug it into the side of your frickin' fuel tank and you start pumping it away. And yeah, this won't be comforting when you pump. If I run this thing down to 40 gallons and I saw $4 diesel going down the road, that's $160 to fill up this truck. So it'd be like, whoa, ooh, I feel like I'm driving a semi truck. But anyways, the whole point is, we have storage of so many things in our life that is, for the most part, unseen. I mean, if you look at the natural gas that's piped into all these homes, where's the storage facility? You don't see it. You don't see, you don't even see natural gas. That's why it's a huge problem and very dangerous. You hear of homes exploding that have a natural gas leak going on down their basement or something. I mean, that happens. So back to the cars and trucks, we get in these vehicles every day of our life, and we're getting this fuel dispersed into our vehicles, but yet, where's it coming from? And for me, I was an oil individual back in the 80s, from 1985 to 1992. I drove tanker trucks. So I used to deliver fuel. I used to handle fuel. I used to go to the fuel terminals and load up the truck and then go to job sites and unload the fuel. And so I'm kind of, pretty abreast to the fuel industry. And it's always intriguing in how we have these underground pipelines that are pumping millions and millions of barrels of oil a day. And this country, I think at its prime, was going through about 19 million barrels per day. I think that number may have receded. I think it has, because of the remote working. The transportation sector is slowed down. Trucking industry is slowed down. So I don't think we're at the higher level. I think things have changed, and we're starting to see the storage of fuel become storage of battery packs, and that's a whole other challenge for the transition of us transitioning from the fossil fuel, the ice age, to the battery age. Now here's the interior of the truck. One thing, these trucks are so nice. I mean, I think Ram takes the cake on the really plush interiors, but I just like the Ford look better. I just like the crisper, bigger, badass look to me. I don't think the Ram has that same look. A little too bulbous. So I just like those sharper, crisper lines. And yeah, you can get this. It would have been really cool if this would have been like a light silver interior or something. But you know what? I don't know if this guy ordered this thing or what. But it's one thing I never looked at. When is the birth date? So it's in November 22. This thing was built in November 22. Wow, that's interesting. Because it was should have been a 2023 truck in so many ways. This has the bigger screen on it, which is really cool. It has adaptive cruise, which is really cool. This has the massaging seats. That little button there in the middle, that's what activates your massaging seats. It has the adjustable pedals. It does not have the moonroof, which I didn't really pay attention to that when I bought it, because I'm so used to keeping mine closed. It's not a deal breaker by any means to me, because most of the time I don't ride around with it open because it gets so hot inside the vehicle. All the upfitter, switches. There's so much in this truck that will I ever use it per se? I mean, there's just so much stuff. But I just love dualies. I've always had dualies in my life. That's just kind of who I've been. The back seat's just trash because of all the stuff that's always being, I had to clean out my whole other truck. It's got a spray and bed liner, which for me, if it didn't have that, it wouldn't break my heart, because I'm getting a bed rug. I already have an order, a bed rug, and I have an order. Supposedly, the roll-up cover is coming today. And what's really cool is I have Ford Pass points. And with those Ford Pass points, I'm going to be able to buy some stuff and I have to pay for everything. The guy was a landscaper. He put a bullet style antenna on it. Yeah, I guess the guy was into guns. Oh, this thing has a, it's so cool. This thing has a vault, a gun vault. I'll have to show that. If I can figure out how to open the hood. With all the trucks I have, you'd be like, dude, don't you know how to open your own hood? I do. So it has the double, has the dual shocks, whatever you want to call it, struts, whatever. Look at the engine. Yeah, good luck. Good luck. It has 2 batteries. I mean, that other F-250 Tremor we're looking at, white one, you know, that batteries were so corroded. Then the tank, it's like the tank didn't have that green look. Years ago, for anybody who knows these Fords, it had the International, I think the 7.3 motor. If that tank had white film in it, like bad milk look to it, your head, your gasket on your head had separated, and you are now getting oil into your coolant. And that means now you've got an engine problem, you have to redo the head. So that's, but then Ford got away from International. They filed a lawsuit against International because they're having so many problems with that motor. So Ford finally went in-house and built their own motor. And I sat in the sidelines just to kind of see them get through the bugs when that first came out back in like 2010 or 11. I'm not really sure the exact time frame. But once again, you look at this engine compartment. Yeah, good luck on you working on that. Yeah, get that. Good news is this is gold certified, so it gets an extra year warranty and 12,000 miles. So this truck technically has a 4-year, 48,000 miles, which now for me, it has 2 years left on that warranty, meaning 22 truck and 2026 the warranty will run out and 48,000 miles. So for me, I'm very comfortable with that because I'm not going to put, I'll put maybe 6, 8, 10,000 miles a year in this thing. It would be more about towing up and down the road, which that's really cool. Now I've got a really cool tow vehicle back in my fleet to do some really cool towing. And I like how they put the rear mud guards on. I'm going to put some front mud guards on it. I really like the color. I just love the color. And I think this is called Iconic Silver, I think. Not real sure on that, but I think it is. But inside the truck here, what's so cool is this has a gun vault. Yeah, so this here has literally a gun vault. Is that so cool? Or what? I mean, wow. That is really neat. I mean, I love that. Now you can put a gun in there. And does the police officer have the right to force you to open that safe up? I don't know. I mean, you know how that goes. If anybody understands those fine lines. So I just like the truck. This is now my 4th, I believe this is my 4th F450 truck since 2017. But just like I said a second ago, this is a build date of 2022 because of the production, pandemic woes. So in so many ways, you'd think this is a 2023 truck, but they were having such a hard time getting 22s out, it was delayed because of storage. Storage, what do you mean by that? Well, because we had supplies. We had supply issues. You know, the storage of all the parts and components weren't flowing due to the pandemic problems. So anyways, back to the storage conversations. You know, we all have our cars and trucks and motorcycles, and that's a big challenge because for some people, is this the carpet cleaner guys getting here early this morning? Never know. Don't think so. Anyways, it's just storage. You know, for me up north, if I wasn't to have all that land, there's no way I could have what I have. I mean, can you even imagine me trying to own a home down here and having the type of vehicles? And there's no way. I'd have to be renting storage facilities left and right, but I wouldn't do it. I mean, it's just common sense. If you don't have the size property to take all the stuff in that you buy, then you shouldn't do that. That's the real story. So anyways, you go here to the motorcycles. That's another challenge is the fuel storage. For me, over the many, many years, for me, I get on a bike, I love to ride 200 plus miles on a really good riding day. But if you only got a 4-gallon tank, that's not going to work. Meaning you're going to be stopping at about 100, 120 miles. And what you have to factor in, you get in the back roads, which I've been on the back roads, I'm sure we can relate with this. And you're way out in the country, way out in the mountains, and all of a sudden you're like, ooh, man, I can only hope and pray there's a gas station 10 miles up the road when you're showing 20 miles reserve. And that's what happens on these motorcycles. The reserve light comes on, or on the actual digital or analog display, you'll see, the actual mileage of when the bike's going to run out of fuel. And usually they're pretty accurate. So here, like on the Harleys, you can take and usually just go through the, so that's a pin thing. What's that all about? Oh, the frickin', so here, it's incredible. I shouldn't have to do that. There it is. No, it's just the mileage. Yeah, I don't have any keys in these bikes. So all the keys are disappearing. The whole point is you can usually go and toggle through right here, and it tells you exactly how many miles you have left, or you're on the breakout, and it shows you the actual bars, and you kind of know what that is. But once again, it's all about the storage. And what's really cool is Harley has a little bigger fuel tank, and the Harleys do, for the most part, have a little bigger fuel tanks than some of the other manufacturers out there, and because that's a challenge. You want a good 5-gallon tank. If you can get a 6-gallon tank, that's pretty cool. Because, why? Well, because if you're getting 40 miles a gallon, that's over 200 miles you have to stop. And anybody that rides motorcycles, once you get in that kind of that groove with your bike and you're just rocking down the road, you just want to keep on rolling. You don't want to, it's just like people that have a bladder problem. Who doesn't know this story? The people you want to go ride with, if anybody has a storage with a bladder problem, you're pulling over. Or if you're the fool that drink a ton of coffee or whatever it may be, you kind of get your digestive system off track. It sounds silly and stupid, but until you travel a lot, you're an idiot. You'll hear stories. I have friends. I know people. If you're flying, if I'm being on the road all day tomorrow, whatever it may be, if you eat food that you've never eaten before, oh man, you're going to probably pay dearly for that, because your body can only store so much stuff. And all of a sudden now you're pulling over all day long. Yeah, it kind of sounds, disgusting and rude, but it's a thing that you have to be very cognizant of if you're truly going to go do things tomorrow and you're trying to play on the road all day long, or you ride motorcycles. You want to keep your diet kind of on par on how you eat daily, because if you go out to that fancy restaurant and you've never had a certain food, who doesn't know these stories? I mean, sincerely, because, and this is one thing that delivery drivers, I can guarantee you can so relate to. And even for me, and even when I was younger, I always used to think, as I get older in life, I'm going to have bladder problems. Because when you're driving a delivery truck, you're driving a fuel truck, you're out in the field making sales calls, and you have to go to the bathroom. It's very challenging. It's very challenging managing your day. And I know, once again, people are like, you have no idea how many FedEx, UPS, Amazon employees can relate with this conversation, that you're at the mercy of your own vehicle. If you don't have your own portable bathroom with you, and that's very challenging just in itself, but it's a big problem. And what's really changed in the gas station industry, and during the pandemic, it got really bad because gas stations were shutting down the bathrooms. And even to today, there's many gas stations up in my area where they don't allow you to go to the bathroom. It's really bad because the bathrooms get so trashed. And usually the state laws don't ride around and govern this, and they just don't do anything, and the gas station guys get away with you going to the gas station and you can't go to the bathroom. That's a big problem, because your bladder or whatever's going on can't store the liquid in your body, or whatever else we're talking here. So so storage. But here's what's really intriguing, though, is how we're trying to transfer from the electric, the gas, the ICE, the EV, and what is the number one challenge with the EV age? It is the battery storage. It is the range anxiety, and also it is the storage capability of all these charging stations being put in, and the capability of the electric infrastructure of having the storage capabilities to charge these stations. And that's a constant, ongoing conversation that's being heard more than ever. But what's very interesting is you really are starting to hear, more than ever, the big guys and the big auto that realize that the battery movement isn't moving like they really thought they were. And I'll kind of leave that for another day conversation, because today's storage conversations, and what intrigued this was a podcast by a company called Tank Tiger. It is a broker, basically, that got in business back in 2015 by a young guy that saw an opportunity on how to help the distribution of liquid products. Because, once again, we all have these vehicles that have gas in them, diesel in them, and where to come from, how to get here, the process of of the barrel of oil, actually producing X amount of gallons of fuel, and then all the waste that goes with it. And then the actual, once it's been refined, once it's been brought out of the ground, and then it's been transported, and then it has to be refined, and then it has to be transported again to be held in storage. I mean, there's a lot of dynamics that go behind these liquid fuels and even natural gas. And so this company called Tank Tiger, they specialize in brokering for you. Let's just say that you want to go out and buy, X amount of barrels of oil in the market, that you have the financial backing to play the market with oil. And you say to yourself, I'm going to buy in right now at the barrel of oil at 72 or 77 because I think that it's going to play out to be a $90 barrel down the road. Well, if you're going to play that game, you have to have a capability of buying that oil in today's market and then putting it somewhere and waiting until the market kind of gets a little healthier for you and you sell it. So in the meantime, you're going to have to rent a tank. You're going to have to rent storage in order to hold those reserves of oil you bought. And that's what it's all about. In the oil trading market, that's what goes on more than you realize, that people are having to bargain and move oil around. And there has to be a company out there that's negotiating leases with tank storage, because it isn't just an abundance of tank storage. And now if this country is at the highest level of producing domestic oil, there's a huge demand for market people to actually take the product and put it into storage tanks. But a lot of these storage tanks have long-term leases. So if you're a guy that just wants to get in the market for 6 months to a year, you may have no choice to sign a 10-year contract on a tank storage. Or Tiger or Tank Tiger, they may be able to help you negotiate a better deal where you only sign a 3-month or a month-to-month or a 6-month, or you sublease from somebody else. So apparently this guy is a pretty astute individual that figured out how to take his knowledge of the industry and create a business model where he now is well known in the industry to the go-to guy. And I'm not promoting him per se. I'm just sharing with you. I was intrigued to hear on how not only fuel, but you have all the other liquids that we use on our society, biodiesel, and all the other things attributed to the food products and drink products. These are all liquids that have to have capability to be stored. I tell you what, when you're back here with me, do you hear the sirens? I mean, it's just incredible. And where's the lawnmower guys? I mean, so I'm blown away. Well, they give us 1 day apiece, but now here's the fire department. But what's really weird, I heard this guy on a bike just cranking it here a second ago. I don't know if you heard that or not. So part of me says, was the guy cranking it, and that wasn't an ambulance, was that a police officer that just caught this kid cranking it through the neighborhood? Ooh, yikes, wow, right? So anyway, so the storage, so where we are in today's society, more than ever, I think that I talked about on Monday, the watch, what do you watch? What do you see? And then I had yesterday the view conversations, and we live in a society of what your views are and what you do view. But at the same time, we live in a society more than ever where storage is a challenge more than ever for us in society, because we're growing by leaps and bounds in the internet age, the technology age. And that's why up where I live, these technology data centers are being built out like never seen. And even the point to the county is starting to want to pull back because they just don't want Loudoun County to end up being the mega place of data centers. Now it's going to Prince William County, which is right next door. But the challenge is for these servers is to take on all this information and storage, which we're all using the cloud, what's all the different terms and technology. But then it goes back to, again, for you as an individual that go shop a car, if you're advantageous and you're smart, you're going to look at the car and say, what is the storage? What is the range of this vehicle? So you look at the, excuse me, you look at the MPG on the sticker, and that is either going to excite you or not. And if everybody remembers my video and watching my channel a year ago, when I had a Ford Raptor that I gave up for that power boost, the main reason was, if I remember right, I think the fuel economy said like 23 miles per gallon. I was so taken back by looking at a full-size F-150 truck, V6, twin turbo, with like 500 horsepower or 450 horsepower and 500 foot-pounds of torque or whatever the exact numbers were, and it said like 23 miles per gallon. And I was like, no way. Or 21, whatever it was. And if everybody's watched my channel, you'll know that that kind of lured me away from my Raptor 35 black truck because I was seeing like 14 miles a gallon. And I was just getting sick of that thing. And the truck just, and something was wrong about that Raptor 35 I had. It just did not feel powerful. I don't know what it was about that truck. It didn't feel right. So anyways, I got rid of that truck for that power boost with all the expectations of having a 20 mile per gallon plus vehicle because I drive 150, 200 mile days. And so to me, that's a really nice feature to be able to get in a truck and have 500 mile range, 600 mile range. And that means for me, I'm not going to the gas station every day. Because if you drive a car that gets 10, 12 miles per gallon, you go to 150, 200 miles a day, that's a storage problem. So the point is, what the Ford Power Boost did to me is it opened my eyes up to a really cool technology, the electric engine, electric motor with the engine, but the fuel economy is never, ever what it was supposed to be. And then the fuel economy towing something is beyond believable. I just can't believe it. But then if you watch my channel, you see I broke a rear axle, a bolt, which it isn't apparently life-threatening, but if you watch my channel, you'll see yesterday that when I was doing the deal in the F450 that, wow, yeah, so that was like, ooh, when did that break? When did that truck have that happen? I have no idea. It's kind of to me like, wow, can you imagine I'm doing like 80 miles an hour down the road with that trailer and the axle separated? From my understanding, there's no way that was going to possibly happen. But oh my gosh, you even imagine? That would be probably a end of the Iceman's day. That could be a horrific crash. Wow. Yeah, you know what? I've talked many times about that truck having the storage capability and this and that and the tow capability. But you know what? I'm just going to have to eat my words and say, forget it, man. Just buy the F250, buy the F450. If you're doing 8,000, 10,000 plus pound towing, I would get a heavier duty truck because it just handles it better. If you're pulling 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 pounds, I'm not saying you can't tow with your F-150, but what I do notice in the F-150 truck when I do tow it, you notice how that back end is softer, and that back end does want to dance some with that trailer. I mean, it does. I mean, so it shows it has the power, but as far as the capability of it dancing the back end, and you'll know what I mean by that if you tow trailers, that back end starts doing the little shake, the little wiggle waggle. Uh-oh, here comes the kid.
What are you doing?
Talking to myself.
Still?
Okay, what's going on now? Huh, interesting. Hey, happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day, I love you.
I love you too. Did you tell Popcorn that?
No, I forgot it was Valentine's.
You just going there? You didn't get him a Valentine's present? Aw. Got to get him one today. We'll get him one.
Watch.
Shh, don't talk about that right now. Yeah, so I got plans. But anyways, I know the video isn't long as it always does. The kid interrupted me. So anyways, but here's what's really intriguing, kind of just getting away from all this. The Ford F450, F-150, but, it goes back to the storage capabilities, the fuel mileage. That's what drove this vehicle. Look at the freaking tinted windows. And this thing has the front windows tinted as well, which I love that. That truck really, oh my gosh, that truck just looks so nice. That's one of my nicest dualies yet to date, I think, of the look. And I've had a lot of them. I think that's my fourth one. It's Truck City, truck time. So anyways, so what's really intriguing is, which I was talking about yesterday, was is how much fuel this country's producing. But did you realize that our country, which country, and I've talked about this numerous times on my channel and throughout life, that I've always just said, why do we want to give away all our oil? I mean, think this through. So we realize it or not, our country, believe it or not, has the biggest untapped reserve of oil. That is a fact. We have more oil than Saudi Arabia. We have more oil than Venezuela. We have the most oil in the world that hasn't been tapped. Keep that in mind. We have not always been the biggest producer of oil throughout the many, years of oil production. So think that through. We have the biggest reserve of oil in the world. And now we're starting to pump a lot of it and sell a lot of it. But at the same time, who would ever imagine that? Would you ever believe that? I'm sure most people would think, oh, no. So the storage for us, for the fuel, the fossil fuel is huge. The fossil fuel age for us is huge for the reserves for us. And I've always have said, why don't we just deplete other nations' oil reserves so we always, in the end, have our own oil reserves? But you got to sometimes think to yourself, does that have a value to China? Does China ever look to our country and think, wow, if one day China could have the control of our country, is there something behind that that's not even spoken about? Even though, yes, China is the biggest battery producer and the biggest EV, but one of the biggest coal burners in the world, and India as well. But have you ever thought to yourself, does China ever really have a secret that the U.S. has an incredible abundance of rich oil that will always maybe have a value to it for mankind? And that it would want our country just for that. Who thinks about that? But here's the next thing. The Strategic Oil Reserve, Strategic Petroleum Reserve, which is what is that? Strategic Petroleum, SPR. That was, as you know, Joe Biden took out a lot of the reserve to try to tame down the oil market. And so if you do some research, the highest level of the Strategic Petroleum Reserve was like 720 million barrels of oil. We're right now 357 million barrels of oil. Joe Biden took out, I don't know how many millions of barrels of oil took out, but he took out what many feel like was close to half of our reserve. And there's been a lot of criticism of that, puts us in, in some ways, our national security and blah, blah, blah. But in the bill of him taking that oils out to stabilize the oil market, he's supposed to be replenishing the reserve as long as the barrel of oil is anywhere from $67, $68 a barrel to $72 a barrel oil to replenish it. And apparently just last month, he put like 1.5 million barrels of oil. But technically, we're supposed to be replenishing that reserve. But I'm sure some people would be like, well, he's the green agenda guy, and he'd probably rather just see that thing not be very full, just to continue to force the agendas of us being forced into the battery technology, which once again, there goes right to what is the challenge of the EV transition. It's the storage. It's the storage of power. People just don't understand that when you plug in your car with your electric battery, that power has to come from somewhere. And when everybody starts plugging in their car, the infrastructure of the electrical system just isn't going to handle it. I know people say, put solar panels in everybody's freaking house. Okay. All right. Well, okay. But it takes manufacturing and storage of materials and key components to create that as well. So anyways, that's it. I talk a lot. I know that. What's the next adventure? Well, hopefully today I'm going to go over to the Ford dealer and pick up my roll-up cover and get that put on. I'm bummed because the bed rug won't be in for maybe a week, which that sucks. So, but I have high hopes on that. I'd rather put the bed rug cover in before I put the tonneau cover on. A little easier to put it in. But my brother said yesterday that he'd be enticed today to work on the Harley-Davidson Fast Johnny. And we'll put the new exhaust on it, new, slip-on mufflers, new rear saddlebag protectors, and all that good stuff. And Mr. Sanchez, he got himself a 2024 Road Glide that he's already doing some mods to. So congratulations to Mr. Sanchez on my YouTube channel that bought a brand new Road Glide. And he always mentions on how it wasn't for me having my Indian Pursuit conversations of the buyback and the Indian Pursuit, and he witnessed what that motorcycle did. He was so on the page of selling his Harley-Davidson Road Glide and getting a brand new Indian Pursuit. And that all changed when he kind of started getting more in tune with my channel. So once again, congratulations. I think, personally, the Road Glide is more fun with the new 117 motor, the handlebars. So for me, would I buy Indian Pursuit? No. I would buy a Harley-Davidson new Road Glide. I feel very strongly about that. Indian guys out there, don't take it the wrong way. Indian's a great product. I have them. But I think Harley just has changed it up, and it's just neat to have a change-up. So that's what it's all about. It's always about the change. I'm running out of storage on my phone, so I got to shut up. So everybody, hey, thanks for watching my channel. And as always, God bless, stay safe, and stay tuned for more adventures. The kid wants to take my dad to Lowe's and do the landscaping. So the kid wants to do the landscaping around, redo what they did a year ago, to have something to do, I guess, whatever. So that's the next project. So anyways, everybody have a great day, and happy Valentine's to all, and kisses to everybody, right? Oh my gosh. Yeah, I hear you. Okay. Hey, have a great day.